new ideas in project management, and the latest trends in career innovation and business agility. This is Project Management on the Go, a podcast by the PMI-Northern Italy chapter.
Dear all, welcome to this podcast and welcome back for those that are already following us on the podcast issued by the PMI-Northern Italy chapter. My name is Matteo Fioravanti and I'm a volunteer of the PMI-Northern Italy chapter. This podcast is dedicated to Agile way of working in a large bank. Today we are meeting Tomasz Grochowsky. He is from Poland and he is an experienced Agile coach. We are pleased to meet him and I kindly ask him to provide us with a brief introduction of himself and his experience.
Hi, thank you, Matteo. Thank you for having me here. Yes, as you mentioned, I work as Agile coach for a couple of years right now. Currently, I'm involved in transformation in one of the Polish banks. Actually, this bank is part of international group of banks, so it's large bank, as you mentioned. And actually, if I would say something about my let's say long life experience, I'm just involved with project management for right now, I think 17 years, so quite a long time. And I've started. As I remember, when I started, PMBOK was with its third edition. Right now, we are seventh edition. So I went through all the classical school of project management and then turned into Agile more and more. And right now, I'm supporting my customers on their journey to be more agile. To transform companies into more agile approaches and way of working and thinking.
Thanks, Thomas. Could you please share with us some background info about the way Agile approach was chosen in your customer? Was it chosen in business area of IT related project? Which criteria were checked before moving to Agile? Any approach to cost and benefit analysis?
Yes, that's interesting question. And I think the answer isn't very simple and it's not so obvious. Actually, at the beginning, it was the idea of some teams in the company. So a couple of teams, a couple of guys, they've decided that it would be better, it would be more efficient to just deliver results if they would use agile approaches. So a couple of years ago, they started with Scrum. Actually, it was somewhere in IT department. So some IT teams decided to work with using Scrum, and then in turn it turned into, I would say, a pilot. Actually, then it turned into an official pilot. The company decided to start their journey with SAFe at first. So it was the first approach they've chosen, and then after the pilot, actually 7 months. I'm sorry, 6-7 months ago, officially the whole company started with agile approaches. And what's I think quite interesting is that they've abandoned SAFe, and the organization decided to go into different approaches. And you've asked me about the criteria. I believe that because I wasn't in the bank at the very beginning when they've started with the pilot. But what I'm hearing about the history and what I'm seeing right now and what I saw when we started the main transformation movement, the main criteria was a very business criteria because the bank decided that they want to respond quicker and better into some market situations. They would like to be closer to the customer, and they would like to to shorten the time from idea to go to market with some projects and products they are delivering. So I would say everything started in IT teams, but when the wide movement spread into the company, the real criteria, the main criteria were really about the business.
Thanks. You mentioned that SAFE was selected at the beginning. How was the framework chosen? And you mentioned that later on it evolved into something else. Can you please share some details?
As I mentioned, at the beginning, the company started with SAFE, and it was like an agile experiment. They wanted to start with something which seems to fit to large organization agile approach. So SAFE seems to be a good approach, because it's promoted like a framework for larger organizations, for large transformations. And actually in our case, it appeared that SAFE was just I think too complicated, a little bit too complicated, a little bit the organization wanted more flexibility. And I think that was the main reason to look into different approaches. And right now, we have, I would say, we have a mix of approaches, because for some teams, those who are building some products, they are delivering some new things, new business or technical results for the organization. We are using Scrum. For other teams, those who are working in, we call it support functions. So they are not delivering new products. They are working with, for example, customer care teams or some financial support teams. Those teams are using mainly Kanban. So as you can see here, we are using two approaches, quite close, but it depends on the team, on the business, let's say, location of the team. For the let's say alignment of business goals between top management and teams, we are working with OKRs, objectives and key results. And the structure of the organization is built with, we call it tribes and guilds. Some people call it Spotify framework. I don't like this name, because Spotify never said there is something like Spotify framework. But we are using this approach for the organizational structure, which is similar to what people call Spotify approach. So it's quite a mix of different approaches. I think it was designed to just to give the best possible results for this organization.
Thanks, Thomas. You mentioned that it started with a pilot and then it was extended to other areas. Can you please share some insight about the extension of the Agile approach?
Yes, I'm smiling because the first thing that comes to my mind when I'm thinking about switching from the pilot into the organization-wide transformation is not everything that worked during the pilot will work during the, let's say, wide transformation, because we faced so many new situations, new events that never happened during the pilot, that I would say the first months of the wider transformation, I could call it a second pilot again. So first we had a pilot just to experiment with some approaches for a small group of people and small group of initiatives, and then I would say that the main transformation, the first months of the main transformation is a pilot again, because probably many things that was designed to work during the wide transformation, after a couple of months we've realized it's not working properly, or it's not working the way we were thinking it will be working. So right now we are, as I said before, 6 or 7 months after the start of the wide movement. And right now we are working on some adjustments. We are looking for things that just does not work as supposed, as were designed before the start of the wide transformation. So if you are thinking about the wide transformation in the bank or just a large organization, and if you are switching from the pilot to the wide movement, just believe me, the first months probably will be a pilot after the pilot again, because after a couple of months you will change a lot of things, because you will face many new situations.
Thank you. What can you tell us about the results achieved and the one yet to be achieved? What's next?
Okay, that is, I think that is a difficult question after less than a year from the beginning, because I think I cannot say anything about business results. Like when I'm looking at the objectives of the transformation, we want to be closer to the customer. We want some, as I said before, shorter time between some ideas and the time when we will release some products to the customer. And after 6 months after the start of the transformation, I cannot say we achieved this. It's not enough time. I think that the transformation for so huge organization just takes much more time. What I can see right now, there are some changes at team levels, at organization level. We've rebuilt some teams, so we've changed the structure. Some teams are quite new teams. There are new people in those teams, and we can. What I can see, there is a little bit more of self-management, especially at Scrum teams. People, I think, are starting to believe that it's possible to work with more self-management. You don't have to ask your manager for everything. You really you really are empowered to make decisions in your areas. And I think right now, today, this is the main benefit I can see in the organization. And when I'm looking at management of the bank, they are trying really to help people to understand Agile. They are trying to understand Agile, and I think the most important result right now is that I'm using the word help. They are trying to help. So they are not trying to force people to use Agile, but they are asking how can we help, what we can do more to support our people, our teams to be more Agile. So this is just wording maybe, but I believe it's important because those words they are using are quite close to what we call Agile mindset. So it's like from Agile heart, not from Agile mind, I would say.
Thanks. You introduced the concept of teams and people involved in the Agile management. Can you tell us something about the way teams were built and the life cycle of teams, for which you already mentioned that there were some changes while the work was in progress? Is there, let's say, an extension of the Agile to new business areas and to different teams also?
Team life cycle. It's a long-lasting topic. I think that what I saw at the beginning, many people at the organization, many teams, they just didn't believe that Agile will work. I've heard a lot of discussions and a lot of statements that this is just another change. We've done so many changes at the bank. We've done so many other transformations in this organization in the past that this is just another movement. This is just another idea from somebody from top management, and we just have to wait. It will pass, and we will be able to get back to our daily routine. So it was maybe not 100% of people had this idea in their minds, but I've heard this at the beginning. Then I believe some kind of curiosity was born after a couple of weeks, because Agile were everywhere. Everyone was talking about Agile, from PR department through management, top management, the board of directors, all people in IT, everyone who really believed in Agile was talking about Agile. So after a couple of weeks or months, people just, I think they've realized that it's really happening. It's really happening. It will touch us, really. It's not something somewhere. It will really touch us. And I think that after a couple of months, not earlier, the real adoption started. A couple of weeks ago, we've done some kind of maturity assessment. It was very interesting for me, because I know, and I knew when we've done this assessment that the result will not be very high. So we had a scale from 0 to 3 to measure the level of maturity for Agile teams, and I was expecting, me and other Agile coaches, we've been expecting the results somewhere around the first level, maybe the second, and that's all. And I thought that many people, especially among top management, they were thinking that it will be faster, that the changes at team level will happen faster, that after half a year we will hit second or third level even, and the assessment showed that actually we are somewhere between 0 and 1. So the average were let's say about the first level, and many teams didn't hit even the first level of Agile maturity, which is fine, I believe. At this point, after half a year, it's really fine, because they've just started. They've just started that the change will happen, and right now they are trying to adopt this change. They are trying to understand what this change means for them. So the changes at team level, that takes time, because it's happening at people's minds. It's easier to change the structure. It's easier to tell people, you will be in this team, you will be in that team, this team will work with that team. It's like a structure. It's like Lego bricks. You can just take bricks, put them on the table in different groups, and you have it. You can define or reinvent the structure in a couple of days, and then you can tell the organization, this is new structure, and we are switching into new structure in a couple of weeks, and it's done. Yes, but when I'm thinking what's happening at people's minds, it takes much more time, and it's much more difficult. And I think right now we are working with this. Organization structure is changed, and right now we have to think how people think, how people adapt Agile, and how they are really using and taking benefits from Agile approaches.
Thank you, Tomasz. What can you share about the tools for teams to support Agile approach?
Okay, here we are not, maybe we are not very original because many teams, they are using Jira. So, Atlassian tools are, I think, widespread among many organizations, and we are using Jira to support projects. Some people say that Jira is mostly for tech teams. Okay, that's fine, but today probably I would say that almost every company is a tech company, and banks, they are no different. Today at the bank we have so many technology projects, IT projects that it's I feel sometimes like in IT company, not like to be in a bank. So we are using Jira, we are using Jira boards and some additional plugins, and this is the main tool we've decided to use to support the Agile transformation. and what is I would say one additional tool, maybe this wasn't a tool purely designed to support Agile transformation, but I can see what's happening with emails and instant chatting at the organization. Because when we've introduced Agile and turned the organization into more agile structure and approaches, more and more people are switching from emailing everything to chatting. So of course you have to have some tool to support this, like Microsoft Teams or Jabber or whatever you have at your organization. But I can see that people are trying to communicate quicker, faster, and email is not the best approach for quick and fast communication. It's the messages are too long, not because you are typing too much, but just because email is email, and whatever, even if you type 2 words, at the bottom you have 20 other lines of text just attached because it's email. So chatting is another tool that's, I think, some kind of a side effect of turning into Agile.
Knowing you have international experience and you work also with PMI Poland, can you please share your view on the dynamics of the Agile diffusion and the impact on the project management professional roles?
Yes, this is great question, Matteo. Thanks. I think that today Agile is actually everywhere. If we are talking about project management, it's Agile is a mainstream today, and it's a part of a new PMBOK. It's a part of being a project manager, and I believe that today Agile is really a part of being a PMP. You cannot be a really project management professional. Maybe I'm not saying exactly about being certified, but I'm telling you about just really being a professional on the market. You cannot be a professional without understanding and using agile approaches. And yes, recently I've been reading PMBOK, the 7th edition, and if you compare it to the 6th edition or other previous editions, everything started a couple of years ago with this additional part at the PMBOK. Yes, so first we had the PMBOK and this I would say appendix about Agile, and right now PMBOK is just about project management, but it includes Agile. And I wouldn't say that Agile is somehow different from project management. It's just a way of thinking. It's just a way of behaving where you are trying to be quick, to react really fast to situations that happen. And Agile gives you a lot of techniques. Let's say there are many classical, more classical techniques taken from older or previous versions of PMBOK or from the history of project management. And so I believe right now the discussion about Agile and project management, Agile and PMP, I think it's disappearing, and it will disappear from the market, because it's not and. It's not Agile and project management. It's just project management. You can call it project management. You can call it Agile project management. However, so I believe that PMP as a certification and as some I would say message to the market that you are a really project management professional, it will stay on the market. It will transform a little bit, because it's this certificate, and I believe project management professionals, they will just adopt Agile approaches, and they will use more and more Agile techniques, still being project management professionals.
Very interesting, thanks. Our podcasts are distributed to the community of project management professionals. Which advices and suggestions would you like to share with them to guide them towards Agile or hybrid project management approach?
That's a good one. Okay, I think partially, I think I've answered a little bit to this in my previous question, so I will continue this. Today I believe less and less in something we call project management and Agile project management or hybrid project management. It's just project management. There are projects, and we have to manage those projects. And then you just take tools and approaches or techniques that fit in the best possible way to the situation, to the organization at which you are currently. So you can take a very predictive approach, because it fits your situation, your environment, your ecosystem. Or you can take a really, let's say, rapid adaptive approach, because it will be better for your project, it will be better for your customers. And I think it's still just project management. And I believe that in the future, the project management and Agile project management, it will be more and more agnostic, because we will not be telling that we are using this approach and this is the best approach. I believe there is no best approach for project management. It's just a project manager, project team, and together we have to deliver results, and we have to give some business outcomes. Yes, and in the past, when we've been talking mostly about outputs, when we were thinking about projects, maybe it was easier, because we were able just to choose an approach to deliver some outputs, and somebody else was taking care about some business outcomes or business results. And right now, project management is much more about outcomes, much more about business results. Every project manager should think how the results you're delivering with your team will affect the business, will affect customers, and we should just take whatever approach will be the best one to achieve this. And if it's taken from I don't know, Scrum, if it's taken from Kanban, if it's just taken from wider, let's say, umbrella of techniques which we have under disciplined Agile, for example, at PMI, or if you will take it just from, let's say, much more predictive approaches, you will build some Gantt chart and some baseline project plan. If it will fit to your project, just take it, just use it. And I wouldn't divide the world into Agile and non-Agile anymore. And I wouldn't call it a hybrid project. For me, it's just project management with many, many different techniques and approaches you can take to make your project successful and to deliver really beneficial results for the business.
Excellent, Thomas. Thanks for your view and your food for thoughts. I really want to thank you for your contribution. Thanks and greetings to our listeners. Talk to you in the next podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
Have you enjoyed this episode? Then don't forget to activate the alerts or to follow us so you will not miss the next ones. This PMI-NIC podcast grants you 0.5 PDU. You can report on the PMI CCRS section, online or digital media. We are waiting for you at the next episode of Project Management on the Go.